Hey guys, back with another roofer marketing strategy. I wanted to say first and foremost, thank you so much for being a part of this community. I hope that it is being of benefit to you. That is why it is here. Today I want to talk about something that everyone sort of knows about, but I just want to be sure that it is a marketing strategy that is kind of called out on the page as a whole. I want this to be a well-rounded community, and I personally don't think that it can be so unless I touch on subjects that you probably have heard before, but it's good to have reminders, and this is sort of one of those. So I am well aware of the fact that within the construction industry, cursing is pretty normalized, and I also am well aware of the fact, like, it's 2022, maybe people don't care as much as they used to. However, I just want to kind of have a conversation a bit about why people curse and sort of where that language comes from. And I think once you know and once you can kind of see in yourself that that's where that language comes from, you're less likely to use it. I personally used to curse like a sailor. I grew up when I was in college, I was a bartender. When I was in college, I was a carpenter. When I was, a few years ago, I was managing a structural steel company. I've been in the construction industry for the last 10 years. I went to college with all men. Like, I've been in the trenches, I've been in the field, I've been in the office. I recognize that cursing is just sort of something that happens within the industry, right? I don't think anyone here is oblivious to that fact. I did want to touch on the fact that typically when people use curse words, it's because they're out of a vocabulary to better express themselves and what point they would like to get across, and feel as though falling back into these curse words can kind of like exaggerate and get that point across better. And the truth is when you're someone that has an extensive vocabulary and you meet people that curse a lot, you recognize it as a lack of vocabulary. You recognize it as a lack of intellect, that this person does not know how to properly express what they're trying to say, and so they're falling back into these words that it takes no education, it takes no no professionalism to use curse words. 12-year-olds use curse words to express themselves when they're angry, right? Like, people within the construction industry, I personally think, have a skewed perspective of thinking that these curse words and using them get your point across and make you hard and like a contractor, and everyone's so gritty, and while that may be a perspective that's used within your crew and you guys look at each other that way, people that are outside of the industry really look at it as a lack of intellect, genuinely. And I just think that if you could recognize it as such, you would want to use better and other words to get your point across, because it doesn't dock against your intelligence. And so that's truly what cursing is. And in myself, like, personally, when I used to curse so much more, well, my environment was reflecting that, right? So I was spending time with all the guys all the time, and everyone was cursing, so was I. But also, when I was cursing a ton, I hadn't done as much reading as I currently have. I hadn't been through the different levels of education that I currently have, and I was lacking in vocabulary. And I recognize those things in myself, and I no longer choose to curse because I choose to use words that better express myself. So, not that it's not fine and not that you can't do it. I personally also recognized in myself that when I was using curse words with the crews and with the guys and wherever in my life, it was hard to turn that off when I was talking to people that I needed to be more professional in front of. Because when I would struggle for finding better words, I would use those default words to have something to say, kind of no matter who was in front of me. Because that was habitual. That was what I was used to. That was the fallback that I had already used many times was to use this curse words and this slang rather than know better ways to express myself. And I just think that if you want to curse, if it's a part of who you are, then that's okay. As far as marketing your company goes, you know what, you're cursing in line at a coffee shop and no one's really hearing. Yeah, but the people in front of you or the people behind you could be interested in your service, and maybe you're wearing a roofing hoodie and you're representing your brand. That is brand building. And probably not building, more like lowering, but you know, it's you and your team are going to be the best people that can market your business because you are real life representations of that business. And brand awareness and brand building, things like this, come from day-to-day interactions and just interactions of going out to lunch or going into 7-Eleven or getting gas or whatever. And I'm just trying to get across the point that using these words through your day-to-day is a habit, and it's not something you can just turn on and turn off. So while you may think it is, really you should take it upon yourself to expand your vocabulary and find other words to express yourself, and try to limit your curse words and maybe ask those in your business if they can do the same. Because if there are other words that can, you know, get your point across, then why not use those? Why not use those when there's no negative connotation connected to them, right? You're not going to have any, like, you're not going to look bad upon or looked down upon for using other words to describe how you're feeling or describe your experience. So I know this is like kind of a tangent. I just think that as far as marketing your business goes, you guys are your brand. Especially if you're watching this and you're an owner, you are your brand. And if you're going out and you're dropping F-bombs left and right in front of everyone in the community, that's fine, but that's a part of the brand that you're building. Why not build a brand that's a little bit more personable for everyone rather than that caters to a certain client avatar? So, sorry this is like a tangent, and you guys probably already hear this and you probably know this, but I did want to be sure that the community is well-rounded and that this was touched upon, because it's something in my life that, in being someone that has gone from cursing like a sailor, legitimately, to someone that now communicates in the way that I do, it has made a huge difference in my life, in my relationships, and in my business, and I want that for you too. So, I hope that this was of help to you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Happy Friday. Be safe out there, and roof on.